Yesterday, on December the 26th, 2024, I am washing the dishes. I'm preparing myself to go do clothing wash, to wash my clothing. So I clean everything around and I hear. So while I'm doing my job, at one point, I had enough of this. She is been doing this, talking about my mother, for well over 2 months, since she made me sick. In addition to a virus, most likely COVID-19, I got at home for elderly people based on MK Ultra scenario, and she went on to agitate my breathing channels, asthma, if you like, bronchitis, with chemicals such as deodorants that were literally, I was choked, just as I was laughed in the face by psychiatrist Peter Kapsch more than anyone, who stated that stuff is gonna fuck you up so much. It's gonna leave you permanently destroyed. Sure, if you use virus bad enough and you're using chemicals on somebody who you know has a sensitive issues to the certain chemicals, sure, you can fuck him up. That virus lasted on me for 3 months. I can still feel one. Sure, you can do that. So, just like today, it's been going on well over 2 months. And so I'm doing all my stuff. She is here at the kitchen table, she's eating. And at one point in time, I had enough of this sneezing shit. And I took some paper napkins, 2 of them, and I handed to her. Before that, let me explain. During MK Ultra, bestiality, lynching, torture, they literally were making fun out of sneezing, out of, like, she's crying in a sense. That's what they were doing. But during MK Ultra, they were doing a beating and at the same time sneezing. This shit went on well over 10 years. With my being with this type of torture technique way too familiarized with. I give her 2 paper towels and I say, clean your nose. Then I notice her, because that's what she wants, crying. And so I say to her, what's the matter? And she says to me, Biserka is about to die. If I translate, Biserka is my sister. Her name is Biserka. Is about to die, you understand. Biserka bo umrla. And she's looking at me, and she's got the face all curled up, red, with tears coming out. Exactly according to MK Ultra scenario, like on exact spot I was doing exact stuff, I was doing the cleaning, in exact place she stood up and went straight into my face to express her sorrow, which was used as a form of gaslighting to bewilder, to drive you nuts with this issue which was involved in MK Ultra, and I have written about how my sister will die and so on. I did wrote about that stuff, and I recorded load of shit that pertained to MK Ultra, to my sister dying. So I wrote about this stuff already a year ago. Cancer. I did wrote about that stuff. Is a lot of stuff here in my head right now. It's difficult to talk about this stuff. Very difficult to talk about this stuff. Because it's disgusting. It's more disgusting than anything possibly can be, and disturbing and violent. On opportunity, when my mom told me Biserka is about to die, I expressed her unwillingness to tolerate any kind of compassion for my sister, who during MK Ultra procedure, exactly for this crime which mother played in front of me during MK Ultra, she stated to me, it wasn't played once, it was played on 3 occasions at least. Sisters told me, and if you're not going to express compassion, you will definitely be destroyed. Sister and my mom, if I was going to go and describe the two, this is a pure evil. This is a pure satanism. Lucifer, Satan. She would rip her eyes out, talking about my mother and my sister, to get me back into the psychiatric hospital. Literally. Would do anything in this world to protect her granddaughter, her husband, and her grandchildren, the money. But the problem is not so light, the problem is not so easy. It's a bigger problem. My mother, who claims since 2020 relentlessly that I need to go back to psychiatric hospital urgently to cure myself of mental illness, that's what she is repeating to me over and over again. Is very, very, very difficult to prove wrong because of the way Slovenian police considered my right to even stop at the police station and report crimes such as this MK Ultra, which they enforced. Therefore, it's impossible, with what you have witnessed to, Slovenian Interior Ministry assaulting me, claiming me that no rights were violated when I stopped at the police station, of which a police, together with Ljubljana State Prosecutor Office, attempted to hospitalize me. October the 30th, 2024. Because I did go and I reported them further. It's not so easy. There's nowhere to know how to avoid this scum. There's no way. And mother is being used to enforce Robert Golob, Milan Kujan, Borut Pahor, Prince Charles, now King Charles, a great king from greater than Great Britain, who stated, only up to here, there will be enough about the death of my sister. They did. He invited me to what was known as a rasprava. A rasprava is basically when someone is deceased and then there is this grab that either belongs to the children or it's, in my case, that would be my sister and myself, instead divided on more shares, basically, such as it could be grandchildren or husband of my niece or whoever my sister, whose share belongs to from my parents, would leave the testimony or whatever. So this is one of the reasons why I know that I can prove what I stated. I cannot prove that my sister is not dying. I cannot prove that my sister doesn't have a cancer because she was playing with the cancer during MK Ultra. And moreover, my sister repeatedly threatened me to use as a way out a cancer as a weapon against me, which further she would even use to prove that her death is real. I don't actually believe that her death is real. I do not believe that her death is real. And I am not going to believe that her death is real till I get a hold of police, till the police is going to resolve this case, consider this case, and get the case properly processed through the law. It's none of my business to believe that she has a cancer because this is what she was playing with during MK Ultra, because this is what they were playing with during MK Ultra, because not too long ago my uncle Anton Ausetz died, in my parentheses, according to MK Ultra scenario. And then a little bit down the road there was another uncle that also died along the road. His name is Miroslav Jasnic. And the two cousins, which live, by the way, just one next to another in the apartment buildings, Nadmlini, just happened so have found their way even during MK Ultra to Ljubljana, capital city, 70 kilometers from here, where the son from Miroslav Jasnic was training the two on how to independently live in apartment building in Ljubljana, which he purchased. Something I'm not supposed to know, because I never was in Ljubljana meeting my cousin Marko Jasnic. But during MK Ultra, I was used for his purchase of this, or I should say, apartment transaction, and even witness to how he drilled his father, Miroslav Jasnic, Miro Jasnic, using, therefore, to drive, to operate a rather old red Volkswagen Golf. A bit unusual because he always liked new cars and stuff like that. By opportunity, his son started to drill him on how to use the Volkswagen Golf instead. And it would be done so to be literally, as I was told, undercover, so that nobody would know anything about. As to Anton Jasnic, I was claimed by Anton Jasnic would go into the home for elderly people, where my father would be, to make sure that nothing would happen to my father. So, do you understand, based on what I stated to you, that I have no business to actually believe, take for granted, or as they claim me, if you're not going to come to this rasprava when your sister died, we will just do our stuff, is even better for us. You know, they already had me in this rasprava, in this post-mortem meeting, this dediščina in Slovenian language. It doesn't even come to me what you say this in English it is. A testament, whatever you want a discussion. I don't know how you say that in English. I really have no clue. Meeting, whatever. With a lawyer, there was a male lawyer, just about like 185 to 190 centimeters with the glasses and so on. Who had me? They seated me, jocked up, and demanded from me all the seriousness with some other people. That was two ladies, whatever, that also participated with this. And it would be parties and this and that. He insisted me talking about this lawyer who would read this testament, that I would only have one chance to excuse myself, and even that chance would be questionable due to my psychiatric status. So, do you think that this is, I'm not going to say insane, but truly, truly, truly sick, sicker than sick or not? This was inside of the head of Prince Charles, King Charles, who was just craving after this kind of stuff through this Robert Golob here in Slovenia. So this isn't very pleasant to talk about. It's sick. It's, my mother said, you have to go, gotta go and cure myself to psychiatric Ljubljana Polje. It's actually making me sick more than her. I'm not the one pushing this stuff down the throat myself. This is the stuff that they had going on. No surprise, I sent my mother to hell. And this type of gaslighting procedure, lunacy, came out after I published a humorous video in which I ridiculed King Charles, Larry Page, Sergei Brin Mikhailovich, a special Vladimir Putin is deputy. This was this video right here. In which I appear very calm, without absolutely having any problems, as I suggest, even for ambulance vehicle or police to come to pick me up. It's the video where I demonstrate how far Google Analytics algorithms, and this goes beyond censorship, truly reminds me of policies of Adolf Hitler. It truly reminds me of policies of Joseph Stalin, where they would simply remove every trace of your existence, in my case, obviously, from the internet, so the world would know nothing about it. If you like, you can see this video here dedicated to Google Illuminati Club. Truly sick stuff.
Okay,
but
it's time.
what I did was I ridiculed them. I was laughing at their bullshit, at their stupidity. And it seems like it was irresistible. And it was during MK Ultra that King Charles had his deputy from MI5, from this British intelligence, Scotland Yard or wherever, because Scotland Yard was involved in it, British police, or whatever scumbag he was using to regularly scan my website for any irregularities, which especially if he would found my being relaxed about it, doing the stuff rationally, at peace, to immediately report one and sound alarm to Slovenian side. And so, and no wonder today the mama comes to me and is stressing in my face this issue here. I said, here's the napkin, clean your nose. Are you crying? Are you crying? What is it?
Ja.
Here you can only hear sister died, but there is missing here is missing Bo will die.
Ja. Jotasz. Papa, ja? Ja. Ja.
That's the only thing she stated to me. I don't know why I don't get Biserka bo umrla, but I get Biserka umrla. There is missing something. I don't know how and why the fuck is it missing. I'm gonna say to you this.
Ja.
I don't understand why is it missing. It's even grammatically incorrect because Biserka je umrla or Biserka bo umrla. So what is missing grammatically in this sentence is je or bo. That means she did die or she will die. So I don't understand where bo went, and finally doesn't matter. Finally doesn't matter. This is what she told me on December the 25th, 2024. Today is already December the 26th, 2025. So just yesterday she gave me this news. Listen, I had to get my shit together to report on a total lunacy. Total lunacy in which I no longer can be even certain about what is true, what is not true, because of the issues that I stated to you. These people would literally rip their eyes out of their eyeballs to get me into the psychiatric hospital together with the Slovenian police. And it looks like that London would also give anything in this world for something like this to happen. Evil exists. I gotta be very careful with this stuff, but this is a bill from Home for Elderly People. Gotta be very careful because some personal information on it, and I would not want to demonstrate that kind of stuff. Let me see if I can do this. It looks like this. It's the charges here that appeared. Oh, just before I do this, I want you to see how good this shit is done. So I mentioned to you gaslighting, okay? After the mother told me about the sister, my mama proceeded with this issue. That's a napkin that she left me. And for a moment, I get actually confused, but I remember from MK Ultra, I don't even know what the fuck it's supposed to mean, this napkin. And this napkin finds itself right there. It's not a napkin, it's a fucking roll of napkins where I'm cleaning the stuff all of a sudden. Just right after she did what she did, just right after she stated me that sister will die, she find her way to the sink. She already ate, everything finished. He comes back and dumped me the whole roll of these napkins, paper napkins, with my even assuming that these are the napkins I gave her to clean her nose.
There is no need for that. I am cleaning the stuff right now, clothing and so on. There is no need for any of that stuff.
I got really upset. I went to the mother. I said, listen, I put the telephone in the pocket.
This is what I gave her. Tu je zelo tako, da ga svet vidi, ne. Exactly according to MK Ultra, this here.
Yeah. And so, yes, naturally, I get upset. You can hear me bitching here about this.
Because she is sniffing and playing with the sniffing already with the nose entire month.
Makaki month.
She was playing with the nose.
Well over 2 months already.
Sniffing with the
3
nose
months probably.
during so-called MK Ultra procedure. And this stuff here is according to MK Ultra procedure.
This is to make you mentally ill, literally.
The napkins that my mother threw here, they were related to this issue. They were related to this issue. And my mama claimed during MK Ultra, the napkins are for you, idiot, not for the sick.
This is the best. When I returned back, I threw those napkins in a trash bin. And what I saw on a table were the 2 napkins that I gave to my mother, the 2 paper towels that I gave to my mom. She did not even use them when I handed them to her to clean the nose. She left them on a table and instead grabbed the roll of whatever napkins paper towels exactly like this and dumped them right there in front of me. Now listen to this shit here. That's when I figure out what she wanted to tell me.
For this issue, and my mama claimed during MKUltra the napkins are for you, idiot,
Yeah.
not for the sister. So this is the
The
schizophrenia she is.
napkins are for you, idiot, not for your sister. The napkins are for you, idiot, not for your sister.
Being totally reliant on a taste of my mother and on a taste of my father, Americans were asking me, making themselves, they glorified themselves in this kitchen in front of the parents, asking me, but don't you like this kind of food? It's healthy for you. Don't you like this kind of food and that kind of food? And I had no budget, I had no work, I had no income. I had fucking nothing.
I didn't like the fucking thing because it was other people that gave me the food. And I had really nothing in life to like for. Nothing really. Being blacklisted, basically listed for death. The only thing I hoped for is that somebody have mercy on my complaints, which I used to send to Strasbourg, Brussels, at United Nations, Amnesty International, you name it. I hope that one of those people that were coming inside of the house to abuse me, to take advantage of impossible circumstances which Illuminati created, would actually have mercy and go over my complaint to help with this issue. Talk about what I like or what is healthy, what's not healthy. What I can tell you is, the first time I sent complaints to United Nations was in 2007. For just a few days afterwards, assassination plot took place against me, and not before I was called by the local employer at a so-called interview as a traitor. That was in 2007. 17 years ago. You don't even comprehend the brutality of this stuff. And prior to that, it was really, really difficult for me. They made it more than impossible. They really did, according to Guantanamo rules. Jobs were used to abuse, jobs were used to save money through the minimum wages so that I could afterwards end up paying bills out of savings without having the right to report myself at the local office, etc., for unemployment, claim unemployment, get assistance, and so on. This was brutal. This was a bestiality.
Agony.
Talking to somebody about what's healthy, what's not healthy, I don't know what the fuck is the point. If you're delaying him, if you develop literally kidney disease to the fucking guy, a fucking kidney disease to the guy, so that you hold him, just as I explained in this video, in possession, in a total possession. Yeah, they worried about British royals, they worried about what am I going to eat, what am I going to consume. But not because of me. They worried about that I'm going to live too long. They worried about that I'm going to survive this stuff. That was their primary worry.
HR Strasbourg, United Nations, you fucking name it, begging them for assistance, and that was the only thing I got. Questions. Don't you like healthy food? Why don't you like apples? And why don't you like this and why don't you like that? Because I don't like, because I don't like, because unfortunately.
Maybe they should have asked me less and do more. 17 years. They eventually started to give me advice, a piece of advice, beginning the 2000, on what am I, beginning the 95 actually, 96, or what's healthy to eat and what's not healthy to eat for my disease. In 96, in 95, they started to talk about the disease, my disease. And they came up with with variety of different diseases, problems I was suffering from, some of which I don't even suffer today. If you understand me what I'm saying.
It works like this, that food you consume, food you eat is triggered with the brain, through the brain. And when you live like this, when you live literally, you're compelled in life.
17 years?
Junkie. In that case, you just
get fucking grow old, man. 17 fucking years.
And once your system gets attached to it, used to it,
you grow from the baby to a fucking grown-up person.
Rather than good food. And next
age of consent, basically, age 18.
Done to me during MK Ultra, a psychiatrist Biserka insisted, and that's the kind of issue that will be proven in case of a schizophrenia. And next, the poisoning gets attached to it. You just
listen to this.
Are bound to eat junk. Simple as this. And once your system gets attached to it, used to it, you will continue to eat junk rather than good food. And next to the poisoning, MK Ultra, a psychiatrist Biserka insisted, and that's the kind of issue that will be proven in case of a schizophrenia on you.
No, they poison you. They poisoned me. They damaged kidneys. They created health problems, health emergencies, and hoped for that through the total depression, and I don't know what the fuck depression you guys understand, but if I blacklist you the way they blacklisted me, I don't know what long-term unemployment means to you. But to me, it means the most severe, life-threatening issues. For which psychiatrist Biserka claimed, well, it will be depending on what kind of food you will be eating. This is basically once they already developed the problem. In my case, major problem was kidney disease. Because, cops continued, because schizophrenics do not eat healthy food. And therefore, by your not eating the healthy food, it can be proven that you are a schizophrenic. This is what psychiatrists capture. This is what the King Charles repeated to me, with other scum that was involved in MK Ultra for over 20 years. All the way to 2020, by giving me a free piece of advice next to poisoning.
Because schizophrenics do not take care of their...
So you see that poisoning, in the case of labeling someone as a schizophrenic, that's actually the proper way of doing it. from the point of view of the psychiatrists and the police that enforce this kind of extermination procedure. I was stupid. It did not come to me basically what are they doing, accomplishing to cutting me off completely from the income, from the jobs, and so on, leaving me all broken and fucked up. It was not stupid. If it goes long enough, basically. If it just goes long enough, not too long, I think in this case far too long for them. Far too stupid. This whole thing looks idiotic for them more than me.
Food. So these are extreme measures to prove that something is wrong with me, aren't they? A free gift from the local pharmaceutical company. It's called.
I will not forget when the local director of Kirka Pharmaceutical came in the house and presented this issue during MK Ultra as a new thing that I'm going to have ability to read about. I will never forget this monthly magazine, this paper, when it came out. When they came in the house and they started to break down on how this is going to be and so on. It's called the Springs of Health.
They give the name the Springs of Health. Today I saw them displayed right here at the top of this thing here. And I was told when this name no longer when it no longer comes under this name, you will see. This is from the local company.
Say they didn't do nothing other than death threat. Everything was a death threat and death threat and death threat and death threat and death threat.
That you see right here across the window, right there. Yeah, that's their writing. This is their stuff.
That's a company, Kirka Pharmaceutical. You can see it through the window. That's where my entire family worked, from sister, mother, father. They started. They were one of the first people. My father was to start the company with Boris Andriani.
He was disturbed with me because, well, because he was disturbed. This is the thing. He was disturbed.
This is the point. The point is to drive somebody, to irritate, to disturb, to agitate, basically.
Figure out in his lunacy that it's my father who welfares me. That it's my father. The fact of the matter is that my father never gave me 1 cent. Well. Robert Golub was the one who was disturbed with me. He was angry, he was disturbed with me because, well...
Robert Golub, Milan Kujan.
He was disturbed, this is the thing. He was disturbed because he figured out in his little head that it's my father who is... that I'm spoiled, actually.
Yeah, that I'm spoiled.
He figured out in his lunacy that it's my father who welfares me, that it's my father.
Robert Golub knew very good that I was not spoiled. Robert Golub, Borut Pahor, Tanya Fayon were laughing at me, making fun of me in a grammar school when they were receiving a pocket money from their parents. Everybody was receiving the pocket money. They were making fun of me, ridiculing me, even ordering my father to not give me a pocket money. These are the people that were coming in the house from Ljubljana, literally. It's not that they did not know or something like that. This is just a continuation, a new edition. When you get older edition, a gift from Milan Kujan. You see how obligated they are.
The fact of the matter is that my father never gave me 1 cent.
Yeah, Robert Golub claimed to me that he's going to dump father, once he's going to dump father into home for elderly people. That's when he's going to actually get to see how I suffer because of the lack of the money, financial resources. This is the way it went. During MK Ultra, Robert Golob was shaking, in rage, explaining me about how much money is going to cost my father's stay at home for elderly people, and the money I will no longer will receive, for which he knew. He very well knew. This is why it's surprising, because I recall when I was a child with the Golobich, Gregor Golobich, when they were coming at the grammar school Novo Mesto, Osnovna škola Grm. And also meeting with my father, asking him, begging my father, and ordering my father to not give me any kind of pocket money. My father never gave me any kind of pocket money. But the thing about it is, I didn't give a three fuck about the pocket money, because there were so many other much worse things to worry about in my little life when I was a child. It was about the survival, from one day to another, if I would survive.
The other children received the pocket money. My father, throughout my lifetime, never ever gave me, since I was a child, one single fucking cent, and say, hey son, here is the money, go spend one, whatever. They didn't want one either, don't get me wrong. Unlike other children, actually kids, when they grow up in teenage years, parents give them cars and stuff like this. I wouldn't even think about, due to attitude of my father, which was so violent, to have any kind of stuff like this. He was so schizophrenic that he saw me using his car before I would even sit behind the driver's seat of his car.
Maybe my father was not schizophrenic, because police was playing with his car, because he alone was subjected to the MK Ultra torture. He was drugged up. They were playing with him also. They were brain fucking my father too. Maybe he was not schizophrenic. Question is, whom have he saw? Because he was crazy. He used to see things that didn't really exist. He all the time was certain that I did to him this and that, and I don't know, but just about the craziest my father was, he had the thoughts that I would get a hold of his car. He was totally paranoid about my getting a hold of his cars, because of other children that, teenagers whom parents have entrusted cars, because of the neighbors criticizing him in front of me for not allowing me to use his car. I, on the other hand, however, never cared for his car.
Absolutely, that I walked, and on first opportunity I buy myself all junk car.
My father was so insultive, deliberately, that I would, rather kill myself than to use his fucking car. That's how insultive he was. He was extremely person that did not care about any kind of feelings or anything like that. He cared about himself. He was known to be egoist.
Which was actually a hazard on the road to transport myself with. Nobody. Robert Golob talked shit. Even the fishing rods, stuff that I had for fishing.
Pretty much everything I have purchased by myself.
And stuff. I bought it myself from work. The stuff I did.
Robert Golob had a really problem with the Golobich, with his spoiled kids that were coming in this house. They had a real fucking problem. They really they could not believe that the stuff, whatever I had, that I purchased myself through the work, they did not approve any of that. They hated the idea, and they actually doubted me during MK Ultra, taunted me, even if I was sure that I purchased things that I purchased them myself.
My father was the one who was stealing the money from me and made me depart Slovenia. He was the one who did this shit because he was using his friend Chertalic Joseph. The Chertalic.
He literally, when I was totally broke, when you start your life, my father proceeded with his friend Joseph Chertalic, and his son Bojan Chertalic, Serbs, to steal the money from me from the salary so that I could not purchase myself a car. He demanded the money for the food, for the heating. On a salary of 100 American dollars per month I got. That was the salary. And the salary was such, according to Bojan Chertalic and according to Joseph Chertalic, that I was not given any kind of explanation face to face, but they approached to me when they had me drugged up during MK Ultra, and they told me, together with the father, they told me, you only got $100 because father will get the free gate for the property. Father started to insist me, yes, I will get the free gate. You didn't give nothing for the house. So now, since you didn't give nothing for the house, I'm going to get your salary. And you're going to get $100. And when I got $100, a father demanded from me half of it for the heating and for the food. That kind of stuff went on. So I had nothing to stay in Slovenia for. I didn't complain about this stuff. I still let it be all the way to 2006. But in 2006, in 2007 actually, because of the way I was disrespected at home by my parents, I had enough of it. That's when I had enough of it. That's when I realized that together with the system, with the Slovenian system, all they want to do is basically burn me, drive me insane, destroy me. And they did work hand in hand with psychiatrists to solve this long-term problem which started almost at my birth.
Had to work for free so that my father could buy himself a gate, iron gate doors at the entrance to this property, which is right there still laying on the floor basically, because Milan Kuchan demanded from one to have that gate removed. My father was not allowed.
Yeah, once the gate was in place, this is a big, heavy gate, metal gate. They did build this gate, this company Chertalic. It's truly impressive. And once the gate came, at the entrance, it was again Milan Kuchan who came at home, in our home, together with the Borut Pahor, with the Robert Golob, with the Gregor Golobic, and they demanded for this aristocratic gate, they called it aristocratic, to be taken down. And my father, whether he liked it or not, his beautiful gate, he had to take one down and place one on a grass so the rust could eat that fucking gate. This is the story about this stuff, about Milan Kuchan, Borut Pahor, Golobic, I Golub, Fajon.
To even use that fucking gate. And so shortly
fucking
after that,
Yugo
I
animals, Serbian.
I collected my stuff, I sold my car, took the
From
money I got
Ljubljana.
from the car. That's all there was, and went straight into the medical examination. I think it was Linz or
Yeah,
Strasbourg.
I just explained here that
just-
I bought myself a ticket for whatever the fuck I had money, and I was out of the so-called Slovenia at age 23, basically.
Boarded the fucking plane to nowhere and disappeared to United States at age 23. This is how my life was. And so what this Slovenian communists hallucinated, how my father, it was one of the reasons they threw the father inside of the home for elderly people, literally demonstrating me. Robert Golob literally calculated it's going to be 30 euros per month. It used to be 20, then it was 25 euros, and then it was 30 euros over the years. He updated 3 times the cost of care at home for elderly people for my father in front of my eyes at this kitchen table here, and claimed that we will see how if your daddy this and that. Is totally fucking nuts, totally insane. My father never gave me shit. My father never purchased something for me and say, hey, whatever. That's bullshit. I never got one single gift from my father.
And I never wanted
For
one.
a birthday, my father would not even say happy birthday to you.
My father would not even say happy birthday to me. Not that would not give me a pocket money or gift for the birthday. My father would not give me, he wouldn't even say happy birthday to you. That's my father.
I'm not saying to my father, but I'm saying to Robert Golob and Kuchan, fuck you.
When my mom said, well, you know, I have a beautiful haircut. When my mom said to me, well, that's right. Well, your sister will die. A little bit hard for me to take this seriously when I had Robert Golob coming here inside of this house, inside of this kitchen, at the table where I am at, right at this table here. This is the table right here inside of this kitchen, right here. He would sit exactly where I sit at, and they would have me like this. They would deliver me to him. And it would be, look what he's gonna show you. Investigators. And he was sitting here and he was calculating. And it was one time, I remember, was 18 euros. And another time was already 20 euros. I think it started with the 15 euros. And then it was 25. Next time when I met him, he said, he was again sitting here, he said, shit, it's already 25 euros. And it was the same thing with a car registration, a future car registration. They terrorized with the future car registration way before the car registration for unregistered cars. Basically, I don't even know if the fee for the cars that are not registered are just stored inside of the garage. I don't know how you say that again in English. That you just have car parked in the garage, then there is a fee you have to pay depending on the value of your vehicle. This tax didn't exist until, I don't know, in Slovenia, what year, 2016 or whatever. They started to talk to me about this shit already way before, terrorizing how I'm going to buy the car. And the car is not going to be even enough money to register one and that kind of stuff, and you're going to have to pay the fees. And they started to fuck. It's going to be 15 euros. Way before this car even existed anywhere in the picture. That's schizophrenia. This is how they do the schizophrenia. And then it all the way went to 30, 45 euros and so on. They were just doing insane stuff. Exactly the same stuff they did with the moth infestation. With the moths. They were playing with the moths inside of my room and infesting my room with the moths. portrayed the whole horror, how the moths are going to take entire house, eat all the clothing inside of the house, delivered me from Poland and started to open bags and stuff, asking me well where the moths are, because the core idea next to the total lunacy they orchestrated was to put me from one room to another with idea to make me clean the proofs of the people who stayed inside of this house. And they quite successfully accomplished it, did so, definitely in my room, where I, according to the police brainwash instruction, polish a whole fucking room with dangerous chemicals to make sure that there wouldn't be no larvae, no nothing from the moths that would survive. They planted the fucking moths in the fucking cracks. They planted the fucking moths they were delivering the moths on a daily basis to the fucking room. So where I would sit, all of a sudden I would see moths flying from all over when I came from Poland. Misguided me, misdirected me to destroy certain items that people touched. They were full of fingerprints in order to prevent larvae from multiplying. They did the whole schizophrenia in my head about the moths, about how they eat the clothing and all kinds of stuff. They did the same shit with the future father stay at the home for elderly people. So it was really, I cannot show you the top bill here because it says account number and it gives some personal numbers and stuff like that. I really have to be careful with this. But this here is exactly the stuff that you see what Nurse Yanko from Home for Elderly People with a Robert Golob was demonstrating me, this stuff here that you see. See this here? Where it says Oskarba right on the top. Let me see and make sure that you see this stuff here. Oskarba, you see 3B, and then underneath you have, let me see if you can, actually what exactly do you see? Tropostalna soba, the room with the 3 beds, and then you see underneath is Mala terapeutska ubraunava. I don't know what the fuck this is. A small little exercise, a therapy, they say. And then they say, they give you the price for the medications. There is a price for, so that odvayala, basically, on a daily basis, €1 for the pills that are used for you to release yourself. And more pills, the same type of pills, some kind of supplement, €7, that's €8 per day. And then a TV, I don't understand what the fuck is this here. Inside of the room, this is a TV I brought the father, his TV. It says 31 per day. I don't know anything about that stuff. I don't know how that stuff works, but this here is what Yanko really, really enjoyed about this stuff here. This therapy, this mala terapia, €80 that you see right there, €80. And also he loved this idea about, this is the Robert Golob specialty, was this here, 30, it used to be €30, now I see it's even €31 per day. And then this final bill, they were showing me the bill, it's going to be the bill, see the bill, 1,300 something euros, etc., etc., etc. We're gonna see how you're gonna do that. You can see how you're gonna do without the daddy, and so on. Well, at Home for Elderly People, Milan Kuchan for the people that were practically without any retirement. made it possible to stay, just as it did for my father. Except that my father, they steal entire pension. Like I said, either way, I am a different person, and my interest only is to learn what exactly I can do for my father. And my only interest is to do best despite everything, the best I can for my father. As long as he's not a threat to himself. They were using him as a deadly tool, as a gaslighting tool to drive me insane, with the hope they would produce the results that would apologize their violence against me. It was without the success, so the daddy continues to stay in the bed, vents himself, according to whom, that's what my father stated also, in respect to this issue I mentioned earlier. This is the video about this.
Nasıl bir Güneş kafaya ya
Biserka bukmurka.
ya
My father stated me not much longer after that, it will be I who will die. And they had a father not too far from here, basically demanded from me to identify father at Otochets, at Schempeter, identify him here at another location here, Mirna Pech, driving me around in a car and asking me, is that your father? Is that your father? Using Mitya Weber, husband from my niece, Urshka Golob Weber, daughter of Biserka, to insist me on how they're going to use the suits, literally inflatable suits, that would make the person who would wear them physically look like my father. If you understand me what the fuck I'm saying, they were contemplating on this kind of lunacy. So what the fuck chances are for somebody like myself, to whom they refer to as, you are the one who will have a parent's family die and will not believe that they died? What are the chances that I would go and say, oh wow, let's go to the funeral? Do you know, during MK Ultra, I already told you on this website, they rehearsed, they fucked with the funeral of my father. I attended 2 funerals from my father, from my own father. I even attended my own funeral and so on. They had me climb inside of the casket. So what kind of people the fuck are this? What kind of people the fuck are this? So what is this? If I call this MK Ultra procedure, what is this? I'm going to ask you, what the fuck is this MK Ultra procedure? What the fuck is this? Because it seems like there are no limits to the physical torture, to bestiality, to lynching. So can you be more detailed about what the MK Ultra procedure is on a Wikipedia? Can you explain to people about for how long this stuff can go, for how far police can go with it, for how far the state prosecutor can go with it, Interior Ministry, for how far they can go with it? Demanded from me to poke with a needle, poke corpse, what they claim was a corpse of my father and of my mother, to see if they are really dead. Delivering me in a morgue inside of the hospital, of the General Hospital Novo Mesto, to do that kind of stuff. So what the fuck, what is this MK Ultra? Now, the police did not know what is MK Ultra. The criminals who did this stuff with me, to me, enforce this extermination procedure against me. They did not know what MK Ultra is. So now I'm gonna ask you, what is the MK Ultra? Now you go fucking explain, world, in addition to what is written at the Wikipedia, what is the MK Ultra? And please tell me what exactly are the limits to the Federal Bureau investigation, Central Intelligence Agency, in respect to the physical torture of its own American citizens, which I became in 2000. You fucking explain to me what is MK Ultra. The only assistance I was told, the only thing we can do for you, and this is what I was told, I was not only invited to this testament from, obviously it would be from my sister, this is what supposedly would be, yeah. You have the three ladies here. Again, I have to hide the information about this because it's some personal numbers that are sensitive. But this is from the Department for the Social Work, Novo Mesto, etc., etc. This kind of stuff here that you see. You can even see the number right there. The letter that my mama, as the one who represents my father, have received. And the only thing, these ladies here that you see here, that made an agreement for me to help me out. What is it? Anna Cholic, and then I have a Barbara Peterlin, Sonia Zagorz. All of them were involved in MK Ultra. Every fucking one of them. I was delivered to this bank. The only thing we can do for you is did this stuff in front of the director for Home for Elderly People, by the way, who is now a director and who went completely insane just in the thought that I could save father, really. Deliver father to Otoches to see the Krka River one more time. She was losing her fucking mind. God forbid, she was the one, director from Novo Mesto, Home for Elderly People. What's his name? Jeric. That I would bring my father at home because he would start to feel like to work out again and live normally, according to instructions of ex-director Jan Zogolin. So where is this crime spree? Where the fuck does it end? Where are the limits to this? The only thing we can do for you is we can make a mistake. Now you read your fucking letter here. We can make a mistake and we can tell that he has an account 44,000 euros instead of 10,000. Yeah. And so the bank where my mother went, that's where this Home for Elderly, obviously they wanted more money or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know nothing about what goes on with this stuff. You see, it's written 40,000 euros that is got on the account, and then they fixed that to 10,000 euros. That it was a mistake. And they told me this is the only thing that we can do for you that maybe will help you out. Obviously, they will signal that something is shoddy about it. Well, there's nothing shoddy about it. There's nothing shoddy about this stuff here. Let me explain something to you. What you are watching is what you usually would not witness, but what people would go in some dictatorial systems, like let's say under Saddam Hussein, or let's say something you would witness to maybe in North Korea, or you would witness to maybe in Libya where Gaddafi was, or you would witness to maybe in some totally what they refer to as in our great democracy. They say this, it's totally, no, they say it's autocrats. It's autocrats. They call these great, brave leaders like Putin, which we have in every country, uh, Donald Trump's, they call them autocrats, they call them. So the reality is that King Charles is no autocrat. The reality is that this is a brutalist. The reality is such that this is a brute who wants to prove himself to the world through the crime against a single individual, basically depicting himself how capable he is by committing himself to extermination procedure against a targeted person against whom to the such degree, in a parenthesis, injustice was done, yet nobody could help him out, nobody could assist him out, and quite contrary, everybody would cooperate with his extermination procedure, from police, from psychiatry, from the Office for Social Work, from all instances, levels of the government that possibly can conspire against someone. And this is not conspiring. This is simply paying for the dictators, for those that they point fingers on others and others are doing this stuff. This is basically paying to Slovenian state cash so they can demonstrate to the world, the new world, the new reality. That's basically how the new reality is. It's Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Republican, just as Harris, just as Democrats claimed, the half of the job we're gonna do the half of the job, and the other half of the job are gonna do Republicans. Half of the job is gonna be done through the Joe Biden, and the other half is gonna be done through Donald Trump, with Donald Trump having very little left to finish the job. And boy, the job was tough for me because since 2017, on average, probably got 5 hours of sleep, with less and less and less sleep. Sometimes even 2 hours per day sleep, 4 hours, or I should say most often sleep. That's what this kind of problem they created would do to one. And so, with obviously nothing to fear from going out on a fucking crime spree against a single one individual, these people are rewriting their laws, constitution to fit into a new agenda, which will be portrayed as not as authoritarian agenda, but basically open your mouth, anything you fucking do, or whether we decide or whatever, you're fucking good as dead. Basically killing people through blacklisting, blackballing people, demonstrating the world their capacity to cooperate with one another, and harm without individual having a single ability to defend himself, either through United Nations or the so-called European Court or national institutions, or if you have a double citizenship like I have, maybe U.S. Justice Department of State, etc., etc., etc. That's what this shit is all about. Basically, a demonstration of the raw power. And it's not a power, it's for the gmizzle, dwizzle shit, drizzle, corruption. What corruption can do. And that's how they see themselves in power. So, it's about the sick people who don't have anything better to do than to demonstrate their abilities to kill people, to choke people literally through bizarre, rather bizarre issues against whom there is no solution. That's all there is to it. Let's call it for what it is. Let's just call it for what it is. I was gonna say about my mother. Oh, I told my mom, I'm I don't give a shit about her. Hey, uh, well, fucking call yourself a sister like this. I mean, doing so much harm to one, literally living for the harm. My sister was begging me. There is a city here in Kran, it's called Kran City, in Gorenska region, a little further from Ljubljana up north, where she also would deliver me. It's here. Claimed me that she had purchased apartment here in this place here in Kran. Begging me during MK Ultra. It's about, I don't know, 90 kilometers from here. To please keep quiet about that issue. Posed to me during MK Ultra with a newer version of the Volkswagen Golf, claiming me that her future car, this is what it would look like during the trips to Bela Krajina, where police was taking me with a hijacked car from my father. Something that I noticed during the trip with my mom, they have repeated when there was a Volkswagen again that was driving in front of me and so on. Volkswagen Golf and so on, all audio recorded stuff. With so many lunacies, how can one know from through to wrong? When you go to the police station and police that was involved in torture claims don't know nothing about what MK Ultra is, and is using the opportunity to, if not hospitalize me, according to their claims, it would be just used for me to identify psychiatrists once I would be transported to psychiatric hospital Ljubljana Polje. It wasn't only the police claim, it was demand from psychiatrist Kosmachin to me, the threats that I will have to come to psychiatric hospital Ljubljana Polje one more time, if for nothing other than to identify him. How the fuck do I know from all these issues that I stated to you how these people think, what exactly they think? My assuming one way or the other would be a stupid shit to do. It's a tremendous theft of life. This is 53 years of life that was stolen from me. So some bizarre British cretin over there from London with his royal family can indulge in this kind of stuff. And boy, they can fucking indulge in this kind of stuff. Sure they can. Let me demonstrate you this. I did not demonstrate you entirely this stuff.
Our bakery, as you see, seasoned extremely well with the white flour, and the entire bread here. Really, really delicious. Delicious stuff, really delicious, but poisonous as fuck.
December the 24th, the day earlier.
This shit goes on for already so long. The truth is, I'm not the only person they kill. This is also seasoned like a motherfucker.
Everything is seasoned like crazy,
They
salty.
kill people, and the thing is, they get the kick out of kicking people, killing people. The thing is that you live life. I mean, life you have to live. I mean, so if it comes to the issues like this, then, like always, you have to live your life. You cannot go and, in a parenthesis, take care of yourself, basically. Under this kind of circumstances, to say somebody is just saying to him, fuck you, basically. So I have a very, very exclusive food. Now King Charles stated me if you eat this, you should just call the
Do you see there is a December the 24th of 2024, right? Beefsteak touche.
number for the poisoning.
This is some kind of a ground beef, basically.
It will kill you.
Very, very seasoned, but delicious. Delicious if you eat all the time the same fucking food as I explained in this video.
What is this thing here? This is meat that is like fresh, prepared with eggs. And yeah, there is some other stuff. Of course, it's salty. It doesn't say it's salt, but it says here it's got some seeds inside and stuff. Very, very delicious. Fresh meat. Whatever meat. What kind of meat is this? Beefsteak. That's probably a beef meat, whatever. It's not recommended for the pregnant ladies and for the small children, it says right there. The problem is that mother doesn't cook anything. I am sick of the food I prepare. It's always the same shit, basically. Cooked fish or fried potato or or meat that is not much better than that. It's already salted. Cevapcici and so on.
Much more unhealthy
Or,
food.
beef, which is really not healthy. Cooked chicken. It's always the same shit, without any taste, without anything. And that's how they get you, that's how they get me eating. I was told by Illuminatis, by Americans, by British, that this is going to be the way for them to defend themselves, that whenever I'm going to publish something, that's how it's going to be inside of the fridge, basically. Cheese and wow, this is known as a French salad, and it's pure mayonnaise. Not the very best stuff you want for if you do have a problem with your kidneys.
More of
and you
this
have a problem
beefsteak.
with kidney disease. This is probably not the best thing. The best.
This is what King Charles now claimed me. Just call a poisoning center if you take this. It was his piece of advice. This is such a good person, this King Charles. Well, frees you not only right to job or the ability for you to earn online income based on your work, but even video view counters to discredit you enough to grant psychiatric services the ability to hospitalize you. In other words, to isolate you from the eyes of the world enough so just about anything can be done to you further. It was not enough to fuck me 53 years of life.
Idea to eat. You can see it yourself what it looks like. I just wanted to video record. Other than that, I don't give a fuck. They enforce this through even extensive delay of criminal complaints which I sent. Slovenia already turned them down. I don't really care about Slovenia. I sent my complaint. It goes on, and it works for the job. So it goes something different that you do to the food. I told Charles, this is excellent, it's very good, it's delicious during MK Ultra. He said we're gonna eat this, just called poisoning center, whatever, the number.
This was a December the 24th, 2024. Cadbury loses a royal warrant after 170 years. Wow. The news which was involved in MK Ultra with the cretins from the Cadbury coming inside of our house here in the city of the Novo Mesto, inside of this kitchen. He brought them here. He brought me there. Chocolate is no good for you. The one you love, the chocolate is not healthy for you, it's not good for you, but it's so not good, it's so unhealthy for you. That's funny, man, because he drinks so much alcohol that from the man like this, it would be difficult to know whether he means real or his joke. And why now he discussed this issue beginning sometimes in 2013 or 2012, that this is what he's gonna do. So this is like 12 years he postponed this news? Do you understand me what the fuck I'm saying? The only way better to understand me, this is 21 hours ago, this was on the 25th. This is the news he received on the 25th. The next day, after that kind of food like this was delivered to me. So, he's positioning himself between me and Milan Kuchan and is playing an ultimate judge in this circle of death, doesn't he? I would prefer not to mention his name. I thought that this is my ally. I was sure that this is my friend for the most of the MK Ultra, despite him causing me enormous damage during MK Ultra. But this just was not the case. But what's more interesting is he is extremely persistent about it. So this is how they sicken people, basically. This is how they do the stuff. I almost failed to mention and screw this video up. But I did recall that I have to mention you for me to properly
the
finish.
napkins that my mother threw here.
This was meant for me. The napkins that she dumped here, the paper towels, I did recall the whole MK Ultra scenario. My sister demanded from me, if nothing else, to at least act like I'm sorry for her, and threatened me that if I would not act sorry for her, I would definitely be killed. She was the one who guaranteed me that I'm going to be killed, etc., etc., etc. But these napkins that my mother dumped here, she told me, idiot, these are napkins intended for you, if you remember the food that I demonstrated you here. That was delivered the day earlier on a 25th. On a 24, I'm sorry.
Being totally reliant because schizophrenics do not.
Remember, if you don't eat properly the food, you are a schizophrenic, regardless. Remember this stuff. This is what was instructions from Milan Kuchan. So, I don't know how much you would like that kind of stuff, but do you understand the links between this kind of stuff? That if you want to drive somebody absolutely insane, that's exactly what the fuck you do. Poisoning him, destroying him body, conditioning him his sleep. With what psychiatrist Peter Kapsch repeated to me on a million occasions, with the King Charles laughing in my face. Showing me on the laptop. No. No. For the kidney disease, I was repeated and also demonstrated on the internet that had to be just the right amount of proteins, carbohydrates, and other issues that pertain to the food to minimize the damage which continues to progress. That's what they taught me. So that's eccentric, my friends. Even more is eccentric when you take from somebody the money to have ability to buy himself food, and you torture him, and during the torture you enlive yourself in some kind of psychopath which has a complete control over the victim, and you're sucking his brain out next to the blood, basically. So I don't know how the fuck you like that kind of stuff, but it's kind of stuff your king is made out of. I hope the world will never learn to appreciate you for what you are, because you definitely are a threat to humanity. You are the gravest threat in Europe, and you are the gravest, you always were the gravest threat to humanity, talking about the British here. In my case, you managed to revive the communism throughout the Eastern Europe. You really fired up everything that was already cleaned up. You jump-started it. Needless to say what you did in my case. So that these napkins here that were there, that these were the napkins. For me, idiot, is what I was told. You're the one dying. Well, something like it seems to me I have no control over, or at least something I should not blame myself for it. Do you agree with me? Now, the day earlier, I get even crazier gift. I pay the visit to my loving father at home for elderly people.
So I have a very little by little I am getting really
Yeah.
little by little I am getting really tired of my mother. Little by little I'm getting really sick of her. Really sick of her.
She
This
is-
the kitchen here. I don't recall that somebody would die.
Fucking
little by
candles
little.
every fucking place. Candles, you step out of the kitchen. Candles in the hallway. Candles at the entrance. Candles in the toilet.
Little by little.
Candles in the fucking bathroom.
Topping up.
Candles in anywhere you turn, you're gonna see a fucking candles. And in some areas, she is collecting I don't know how many candles already, and stuff like this. I mean, to remind me.
This is what she plays with. This is her.
I get awarded with a total lunacy. Seriously. She is playing with the knives. This is another sport also that was involved in MK Ultra. Then I have here on the 22nd, I did come to visit father on foot. As you know, the car, I'm not going to sit in the car because she doesn't allow for oil to be even changed. As I come to father, you probably notice how the feeding tube is hanging out of his shirt, right? You can see that one right there. You can see this. Father started to play stupid, depressed, ready to pull in front of, start pulling the feeding tube in front of me, for me coming to him to help him out, to do the exercise, like I did the day earlier and the day before the day earlier. But this is the issue, they claim me. This is how dementia works. Sometimes the patient feels good, and some other time the patient doesn't feel good. This was, by the way, the day when I called the nurse, which guaranteed me during MK Ultra. This too was according to MK Ultra brainwash. This was also the stuff that was according to MK Ultra brainwash. She guaranteed me there should be nothing she'll be capable to do for me. After I eventually contact her that day for this stupid behavior, she eventually refused to give the father what are known as loparchki. Loparchki are rackets that are placed on palms of an individual who is trying to, like in the case of my father, let's say right there, pull the feeding tube out of his stomach, just for his own sake. And I had to inform the nurse that he is doing that kind of stuff, because I was unwilling to take any kind of responsibility for stunts. So this is a gaslighting for sure, you can trust me. It's a total lunacy. It's a disrespectful, brazen way to violate laws, treaties, human rights, or whatever you want to refer to under United Nations statute to this crimes is. It's exercising the attempt to rule the world basically through a total disdain for laws, for treaties, for the human rights issues. It always starts with one example, and then it's more and more people that get violated. And I'm not surprised. Donald Trump is next in line as they did agreement talking about the Democrats with the Republicans, and he'll be solving certain issues at satisfaction of silent American majority, I guess. So this is all there is. I don't have anything else I would say. The date, as you see right there, was December the 22nd, 2024, and I was really angry about it, but not angry enough that, look at this shit. Look what the fuck he's doing. I'm gonna post the video and audio separately about this stuff. I tried to explain him that we have to work to rehabilitate, to gain muscles, and so that when the spring comes, I told him I need him at home. I want him at home so he can go fishing and so on. He tells me he doesn't want to go fishing anymore and stuff. I mean, stupid stuff. Then he started to act stupid after I whispered him in the ears, and it's quite evident he understood everything, that he did not understood anything and stuff like this. So he is looking for some kind of feedback from me that would give the police ability to act against me. Instead of that, I called the nurse and explained her the issue behind him pulling the feeding tube out of his stomach, playing with the feeding tube.
This criminal.
More people were identified along the way. December the 21st, the day earlier, and you can actually even see me lifting the father from the bed and making him walk in the room back and forth, doing exercise after
Literally up to
extensive amount of time I spent with him, and he would not move. I keep working, trying to get him up some way, somehow, and eventually it paid off. And this is how it goes. If I only get him exercise.
you want to do exercise. And the reason I'm saying is this because the nurses the other day when I was here protest.
Hey, you can see me walking father all the way to hallway right there. He's holding up to me, I'm holding him up in the air basically so that he can move his legs. You have a problem with the spine like I have, believe me. It's a fucking blood suffering. It's painful as fuck. But I do it so I keep one alive, so I give one hope. I walk to his place, I do my best to help him out. I do whatever the fuck it takes. And police is using this kind of stuff not to gaslight, but to cause physical injuries atop of gaslighting, atop of driving me insane. Look what the fuck is this. See what the fuck this is? Do you know what the fuck this is? I will explain to you what the fuck this is. Let me demonstrate to you what the fuck this is. This is this here. The stuff that I demonstrated you earlier, the nurse Yanko was laughing at. He was the one who had, this was the most funny thing to him. I don't know, for 30 minutes, this is what he was demonstrating me during MK Ultra. For 30 minutes of exercise, which my father doesn't even get, they take out of him his banking account no less than 80 euros. I don't get paid anything to go to father and help him out. Father doesn't pay any bills at home because Milan Kuchan makes sure that every cent, every dime would go into the home for elderly people. So is what my mother claims me, that father doesn't give one single cent to the household. She's paying everything herself, and that's how Milan Kuchan also wanted the whole thing to do, to portray this as, right? So I'm doing the work, I'm doing the stuff, I'm doing my best to keep my father alive, which police is using to drive me insane, and they're getting paid for something they don't even do. Nobody's exercising anything. Nobody's doing anything with my father. They're not helping my father. What they're doing is they're collecting the money, and they're collecting pretty good money, literally for nothing. There is something more, however, that I failed to mention during this video about this testament, about these issues. That's the most important part of this video. Now again, it doesn't come to me. I need to finish this video. My father gives me mental problems for granting one assistance. Obviously, I'm not going to say I get disillusioned, but I end up it's almost 5 o'clock in the morning. You see, it's almost 5 o'clock in the morning. I end up not paying him only visitations as I described with the problems. What he is doing also, he's trying his best, I'm not going to say to demoralize you, but to depress you, to depress me. Obviously, he is creating a great psychological harm with his behavior, with his quite violent behavior. My relation between Nurse Yanko and there is another nurse, male nurse that works there, was such due to torture they exercised against me inside the room where father was. As I told you, they had me tied to the bed during MK Ultra, at times for 14 days straight, and one time even 30 days straight. Is such that I promised Nurse Yanko and I promised the other male nurse that when we meet in person, I'm gonna rip them apart. Just to receive the answer from both of them. I sighed And that's what I'm gonna demand at court, for the two to clarify me, laughing in my face during MKH, the two returned me back, with big laughter all over the face. No, you will be not capable to do anything you say. Instead, you will continue to thank us for our work on your father. You will continue to thank us. Edino stvar, kar boš lahko naredil, je zahvaljeval se nam boš za naše delo, za pomoč tvojemu očetu. The only thing you will be allowed and capable to do, not allowed, but capable to do, is thank us for our assistance to your father. This is how this 20-year bestiality torture inside of the room where father is ended for me. Sometimes it was more than 20 years, in 2017, 2018, with Nurse Yanko and the other nurse suggesting me, no, you're not going to be capable to do anything to us in respect to your physical threats. The only thing you will be capable to do is thank us for our work to your father. And that means changing him diapers, giving him food, giving him medications and other issues that basically they created to him. This is the relationship between me, between the home for elderly people, between the father, between Milan Kuchan, Robert Pahor, between me and King Charles. This is basically Buckingham Palace, between me, Joe Biden, Republicans, Democrats. Do you see how far this shit have gone through? Obviously, that King Charles would give anything in this world for some kind of violent, irrational statements from me so that he could use. Miran Sudin, special police officer from Robert Golob. Miran Sudin, the criminal who came from Ljubljana to meet me in Novo Mesto police station. This dunk here, this individual here. This was the individual who sent me to psychiatric hospital that same day for my complaining against Novo Mesto police. Special police officer designated for crime at Novo Mesto police station against me by Robert Golob. His name is Miran Sudin, this criminal here. You know what this dunk have stated me? This dunk stated me he would be more than willing to fight with me, physically even, when we will meet in the future. This individual eventually was looking to have a physical fight with me. He wanted to have a physical fight with me based on MK Ultra. He was looking forward to have a physical fight with me. I don't know if this is not the definition of the violence, this type of stuff, then I don't know what the definition of the violence is. I wouldn't say that this is a disdain for human dignity, or the right to exist. It is. It's more. It's more than that. It's the way to enforce, it's the way to pose in front of the world with, hey, look at me, I'm a King Charles, I am a mighty King Charles, and look at me, the stuff that I can do to another individual in another country without even being a British citizen. Look at me, what I can do. Look at me, I piss on human rights, I piss on treaties, the corruption is the king, I rule the world. Look at me, the mighty King Charles, the stuff I can do to the people. Fuck you people, fuck your UN treaty, fuck your human rights, fuck your courts, fuck your police. This is what this is, basically. He is paying Slovenia to make his dream come true. And vice versa. This is what this stuff looks like. You've proven the crime beyond any doubts, yet they continue to flash with the crime. In fact, they take pride in it. This is what this is. They're making fun of it in front of the whole world, basically. This is what this is. This is what this stuff is. This is what this stuff is about. Can you imagine to be tortured at institution, physically tortured, and then being told by the same people who tortured you at the end of 20 years of torture inside of that facility, more than 20 years of torture, you endured inside of that facility, that there is nothing you will be able to do to them once you're going to meet them. Think about, you walk down the hallway and somebody slaps you, but you cannot do anything to the person because your hands are tied up. And he's doing this stuff to you 20 years. In fact, he promises you, when you will meet one in a parenthesis, in a reality, you will be capable to do nothing to him because he will be taking care of your father. He will be, the only thing you will be capable to do is thank one for changing the diapers and giving him medications to your father. You would not probably like any of this stuff. Would you like the stuff like this? Would you like to be abused like this? Because this goes beyond the issues of abuse. I'm 53 years old now. My life was wasted for this scum from greater than Great Britain. King Charles stated, make no mistake, I'm going to repeat the words. He stated to me, nobody can help you. Nobody will help you. Maybe that guy, Biden, maybe. Donald Trump, definitely not. And not even Joe Biden. The thing about it is that he don't have to worry about any of those issues. This is about helping me the fuck out. This is about placing you behind bars, scum. This is about helping me out. This is about the law. This is about the human dignity, the right to police, to enforce the law through the police also against you. That's what the fuck this is about. I'm not asking for help, anybody. Or through I paid for the witnessing of the people with the physical pain, being physically tortured. So I would have the right to meet with them, interact with them, I should say, and get at least somewhat honest exchange, dialogue. This is about my exercising, this is about my having the right to see myself as a human being and demand law and justice, the law and order, just like other people receive. That's what the fuck this is about. It's about the police doing their job, exercising their police duties according to the job description, according to what law requires from the citizens, not only officials, but to have the right to that stuff. That's what this is about. You know what this is about? This is about my rejecting to settle for anything less. This is what the fuck this is about. If you count on Trump or you count it on Joe Biden, you might have noticed that I called one a war criminal. If you paid close attention to, I regarded Joe Biden, and I have proven beyond a doubt that this guy was and is also a war criminal, a serial killer, a war criminal. The one that I don't want any kind of assistance from him. The one who paid 175 billion American dollars to boost his the so-called presidential immunity, all through the presidential immunity for the issues that involve violence, torture of its own citizens, American citizens as I am, doesn't fucking exist. He has authorization for the foreign wars, for the war operations. He never got any kind of authorization to engage in a physical torture, in killing, in fact. No US president had that kind of authority of his own citizens. And the American government started this torture when I was less than 1 year of age. I was hijacked to the United States of America. Human trafficking, hijacking, torture of children, babies. This American president doesn't have that kind of immunity. The British do. In greater than Great Britain, they have kings, they have royals. They call it a constitutional monarchy. But in the United States of America, they don't. And I won't settle for less. I won't settle for Hollywood to resolve this, or a rich and so-called famous. I don't do that kind of stuff. I spent my life wanting to become a law enforcement officer, and I will continue to do my stuff in that way, settling never for any less than that. Nobody gives a shit about Donald Trump or Joe Biden. Clearly, King Charles is desperate. Entire royal family desperate, dying for anything, any kind of statement I would make, anything I would write that would really grant ability to mental health services to act against me. But this is pathetic. Truly is pathetic, because I am 53 years old, and December the 29th, I was 53 years old. King Charles is trying his best to work out all this stuff for his son, Prince William, who will inherit this great kingdom. But things aren't looking too good for him. He too has issues for which, just as in the case of my father, for whom they claimed me, a psychiatrist claimed me, explain him this about the dementia, explain him about the mixture dementia with depression, and they played with me at the table explaining me. It's natural that patient is displaying one time positive and next time a negative attitude, yeah. Psychiatrist Proctor was given a green light to psychiatrists. They had basically monologue with one another in front of me, trying to gaslight, doing their best to insane me, basically. Drive me, to put me in a sane mood that I would lose my temper and do something crazy, basically. That's how they get people. They get people making people act, do something, commit something, and then basically that's how they jump on them. But it's hilarious, because I'm 53 years old and they continue to do this stuff without international authorities to whom I submitted complaints to, stepping in between, stepping on their fingers, calling them out, saying basically, hey, you cannot do this. You know, you're doing this already for so long and so long, and this case actually exists. So what the fuck are you trying to do with this stuff? Why do you continue to do this stuff? You don't have any kind of rights to this guy to do this stuff. So that's basically is what we have going on. This is what we have going on. The most important part that I even forgot to write on the paper. Oh, you know what the most important part is in respect to the testament? I asked my mother after she told me, I'm gonna play to you this stuff again. I love this stuff. I love it.
Ah, plus English. Hörst Papa, ja? Ja? Ja?
They were heavily, that's why it's so difficult for me to take this seriously. They were heavily burdened with idea to have a house sold. The one who was obsessed with this house was none other than Robert Golub and Milan Kuchan. The communists wanted to buy this house. They became totally obsessed with idea to purchase this house. But guess what? They wanted to do this through the various transactions, and it turned out just to be the husband from my niece, Mitya Weber Golub, who believed that through the set of the transactions with assistance of Milan Kuchan, he could actually play down the sale of the house and then purchase the house back. They literally had several real estate people involved in this stuff, with whom they started to negotiate the sale of the house for less. They uppriced, and they started to brainwash me, demand from me to acknowledge as to how much this house is worth. And they demanded from me to acknowledge that this house is worth 100,000 euros, especially because they claimed there will be a road that will be built right here next to the house. So they insisted for at least 10 years from me to acknowledge that this house is worth 100,000 euros. And then one day I explained to Robert Golub, I told him, you know, this is a waterfront property, I told him. And in fact, this is the only waterfront property with almost what could be considered as a little beach down at the water, which is, however, is not accessible because it's all rock on one side of the property and on the other side of the property. You cannot make it. So it's kind of exclusive, I told him. I told him, not even for $1 million, you know, Robert Golub, I would sell you this house. Robert Golub stated to me, well, if that is the case, what we're going to do is we're just going to increase the real estate tax, the property tax to such a level so that you won't be able to pay back. That much about the testament. So I decided, since they turned this house into a torture cell, the whole property, and destroyed the whole family, and since they threw the money on a table, that I'm just going to take the Krka pharmaceutical factory entirely for myself and some more from Slovenian state. Robert Golub absolutely was finding the answer for absolutely everything. And when I look at this bill here, and when I think about, I really truly is that there is people in there that they don't have any kind of retirement. You literally have a Roma people in there enjoying the same benefits without any kind of savings, without any social security, without absolutely anything. It's not about the Roma people only. It's about Slovenian people who didn't pay, didn't have any work stash, didn't have any pay, any social security, and so on. And they get the same thing. They get completely exactly the same thing. They're actually treated much better. The thing is that I like the idea about having people taken care of rather than see them freezing homeless on the streets. If you can help them out, if you can give them a warm place to stay. I like the idea about, the lady complained to me the other day about Roma people inside and there and so on and so forth. That's a good thing, I think. Why not? I think it's the right thing to do. But this here, what we have going on, this has nothing to do with the Roma people or with the people who don't have, who are not employed or whatever, and they are inside and there. This has foremost to do with a crime, with a hardcore crime. It's completely of a different issue. So I don't want to mix these issues. I just want to be clear about what went on during MK Ultra and about what is happening. It's really hard for me to believe, even if the people really are dying around me or are being killed, that are actually dead. Yes, it's very hard for me. And I think that's a bad day for greater than Great Britannia, no? Is not? You like this kind of stuff? I don't know. I don't know, to me it doesn't feel right. It feels sick. You know what time it is right now? It's 5 minutes after 5 o'clock. Now think about how many hours I spent throwing away the videos that I post about my father, the problems I have to get to my father, the problems I get at my father, for which most part I did not even post because I was afraid for his well-being, afraid they're gonna throw him literally inside of the prison for the stuff he does. It's not about visits only, it's also about other issues. I'm not gonna say frustration and all kinds of stuff that police does using father, but this is a lunacy. No, I am not the type of person who's going to go off and state something for the sake of Prince William, as Prince, now King Charles, dreamed about, that he's going to throw himself in the fire, sacrifice himself in the fire, so that Prince William would have a clean start. Fuck you, motherfuckers. Your clean start, you know where it's going to be a clean start? In hell. When I get you to the hell, you're going to have a clean start.